Good morning. This is Pastor Zach with the Goodland United Methodist Church with your morning devotion for Friday, June 15th. Today I'll be reading from Mark chapter 4, verses 26 to 34, and I'll be reading from the Common English Bible translation. Then Jesus said, "This is what God's kingdom is like. It is though someone scatters seed on the ground, then sleeps and wakes night and day. The seed sprouts and grows, but the farmer doesn't know how. The earth produces crops by itself, first the stalk, then the head, and then the full head of grain. Whenever the crop is ready, the farmer goes out to cut the grain because it is harvest time." He continued, What's a good image for God's kingdom? What parable can I use to explain it? Consider a mustard seed. When scattered on the ground, it's the smallest of all the seeds on the earth. But when it's planted, it grows and becomes the largest of all vegetable plants. It produces such large branches that the birds in the sky are able to nest in its shade. With many such parables, he continued to give them the word, as much as they were able to hear. He spoke to them only in parables, then explained everything to his disciples when he was alone with them. The reality is, in our lives, they're full of parables, or you might say life is parabolic. I suppose Jesus knew this very truth very well, which is why he told them on a regular basis to his followers. With what can compare to the kingdom of God, or what parable will we use for it? It's not a bad question to get a sermon started, or to pose to the people in the pew each week. Yet Jesus provides specific parables for which to imagine the nature of truths about the kingdom of God. But what parable should we use when we try to teach faith? What parable do we want to hear to learn about our faith? At the same time, Jesus' panache for parables seems to suggest that speaking in parables, searching for parables as a means by which to make sense of things, is a way to be in the world, to operate in the world. Parables don't offer us a lens through which to view certain concepts of faith or means towards glimpsing God's activity in the world. The presence of parables points to a more basic reality of life, which we don't often consider when we're teaching. There are aspects about our lives, God included, that only make sense in parables. We might even say parables are necessary for making sense of life. Jesus tells parables so that we might get a glimpse into the meaning of the kingdom of God because of his presence in the world. But Jesus also tells parables to suggest that what is revealed about the kingdom of God will upend the parable we thought was just simply a little story. It seems speaking in parables is a theological necessity. Jesus tells parables not for explanation, but for exploration. Not for answers, but so as for us to engage the imagination, not for certainties about faith, but for discoveries of how our faith works. In this regard, Jesus asks us to talk in parables too, because something happens in telling parables that cannot occur in just listening to them. Figuring out a parable to tell is a different experience in securing its purpose. Parables are what make our faith deeper and more strong as we explore the many possibilities and the many caveats that happen in them. So today, think about a parable. Think about the parables that you can use to teach others about the faith that you have been given. Have a blessed day.